First of all, again, thanks for everybody coming out. Just a few quick announcements, and then we'll launch right into our speakers for the evening. Of course, the November elections last month, we'll just have to be honest, kind of a mixed bag. Of course, we're thankful for the wins that we had. But here at the local level, things didn't quite go the way we wanted them to. All three Longview city bonds passed, and unfortunately it was not even close at all. It was about a 2/3 to 1/3 split. It kind of shows us that our job is not finished. I mean, it never is, but an election result like that kind of highlights even more that there is still not enough focus on local government and how it affects our lives, especially our pocketbooks. When you have an area that votes about 70-30 for Cruz, Abbott, and Gomer, but then votes 66-33 for $104 million in new debt, and it just shows us that as a community, there's still a lot of. Oh, I was like, that is some very loud buzzing. Tim, do we have a loose connection somewhere? Okay. All right. Well, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Anyway, just kind of showing that as a community, we still have a lot of work to do to highlight the point that we can't scream at Austin and D.C. for their out of control spending, and yet tolerate our neighbors voting a 16% tax increase on us. And so I'm gonna, yes, with the calculations involved with the city of Longview portion of our local property taxes, it was a 16% increase. And people that hear that, most of us that are at least mostly fiscally conservative, we hear that and we just say, no, that's outrageous, and yet we voted 66-33 for it. So it just means that our job is not finished at all. No matter what the DC elections are, or even the Austin elections, we must stay focused on our local entities here, because local politicians are just as bad as any in Austin or DC. They will tax and spend as much as we let them, and so we must stay focused on the local level. So anyway, want to have a couple of people come up before our featured speaker tonight. We're going to have Mr. G. Floyd come, and he was the Republican nominee for Precinct 4 Commissioner, and he's just going to have a few words to say about his race. And then Mr. Holcomb and Mr. Floyd.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to say a few things about the Gray County Commissioner's race for Precinct 4 to you. And as I told someone else, we did not win, but we are not disheartened at all. And I just want to tell you how successful we actually were. Again, when we began, we had no chance to win. But we felt like that if we ran a good race, had a good candidate, had a good message, and we had a chance to win. And that's what we actually did. And in all fairness, if we looked at it from one perspective, we actually did win, and I'm going to tell you how very shortly. One of the things that we did, we ran on a platform of Christian values, personal integrity, and incredible character. In this particular race, that meant a lot because of what you know about the mail-in ballot. As you know, the state launched an investigation into the probe in May, and they're about to conclude that. And if you read the Sunday paper, that the State Attorney General's team of 4 investigators are here, and they are questioning individuals about that, and they're investigating primarily the March primary, and that will be concluded. And we do feel confident that the team will file indictments against individuals, candidates, and individuals for their part in the mail-in ballot fraud here in Gray County. So we do feel confident, and there's a possibility that we will have to run the election again. It will probably be a special call election, because once you're indicted and then there is a plea of guilty or a final conviction, then the individual who did win cannot serve. So it's very likely that a possibility that we will have a special election to fill the seat of Gray County Commissioner. And as you know, I attend all the Gray County Commissioners meetings, and one thing I noted is when the county commissioners voted last month to repurchase the liability insurance for the state judges and the commissioners, there was not a name for Gray County Commissioner for Precinct 4. That is, they did not buy a liability because they do not know who will be coming in. So that's so that's where we are on that. But I want to tell you this. That's for the other fellow. But I did want to tell you this though. The way we ran the race was very efficient and it was very effective. And I'm going to give you some specifics to tell you that. First of all, if you noted, the race came out at 3,994 to 1,854, which seems kind of bad, but there were 3,200 voters that showed up that had never voted in Precinct 4. 3,200 that had never voted in the past 3 years. So I went and I got the total number of voters, everybody that voted in Precinct 4, the election for November, and I got on a separate list every registered voter in Precinct 4. And so now I know exactly where everyone is. So we'll be prepared, as I told someone else. But in retrospect, when the March primary happened, Cassie Williams ran against Shannon Brown. In that race, she had 1,047 votes, and he had 1,052. All right. Again, consider the fact that in the November race, I had 1,854. My goal was 1,500. I said if you get 1,500 votes, that'd be a comfortable win. I would not be challenged. But we exceeded that expectation with 1,854. Now, I consider this also efficiency. She spent $27,000 in order to get 1,047 votes, which is between $26 and $27 per vote. He spent $18,000 in order to get 1,052. So that's somewhere between $17 and $18 per vote. We spent $1,800 and got 1,850, which is $1 per vote. So do you really see when I tell you efficiency? And let me tell you how we do this. That we had an apartment complex that had 125 apartments. If I told you that we can canvass the entire apartment complex with a flyer and do it for $1.50, would you believe me? $1.50. Let me show you how we did it. We had some flyers that printed up with pictures and information on the front and the back. We printed up enough of them where they cost 1/2 cent each. And then we used a piece of tape to stick it on the door. So that means the total cost of putting on for every apartment on 125 is 0.75% of a cent for each one of them. And just to have the legs to be able to run and put it on there, we got it in for less than $1.50. 125 apartments. So that's how we did it. You understand that? And again, we also went and visited. We visited for the first time, probably no other candidate in any other office have done it. We actually visited 3,262 residents. Never, haven't seen that in a while. And we did it mostly on a bicycle. So that brought the cost down. So the total cost, like I said, for 1,854 votes, which exceeded the others by 800 votes at a cost of $1 per vote. And I'm telling you this, because if we have to have a special election, and I ask you for a donation, remember, it's going to be spent very efficiently. Very efficiently. It's not going to take a whole lot. But we ran 2 ads in the newspaper, and they ran about $800. Very expensive, I know. But because the cost was so low everywhere else, that was just a small portion of it to keep it below $2,000. You got that? And then we had additional flyers that we printed up. They ran about $600. But the total amount was a little bit more than $1,800 for 1,854 votes. And again, compare that to 1,047 and 1,052, we got 1,800. So, and we still have some areas that we could have more effectively, with a little bit more time, been able to campaign and add another 600 votes to that. So So that's what we're planning to do with the system that we did to improve it with the people. All right, so that's what we're saying. So it's looking up. So we are not disheartened at all, because when you look at efficiency and effectiveness, and that is just through the roof. All right, because of the cost, we were able to keep it down and then be able to be very effective. And again, I always say that if you got a good candidate, first of all, you got to have a good candidate. You got to have a good message, and then you got to have a good method for getting it out. So I think we had all of those, and then whatever we do from here on out, we can improve them. And so, again, if we come to you later and we ask you for a donation, remember, whatever it is, it's going to be spent very efficiently. And we feel like we can be very effective, and we're going to win too. and that's the whole goal. And again, when I have met with people from all the spectrum throughout Precinct 4, I actually talked to people. And I told them it's about service. You know, how much service can you give and the people believe my words when I told them that if I'm elected at least once per year, you're going to hear from me. Because it only costs about 19 cents to send a card to every vote, every person that votes. So I intend to do that as soon as I win. But I just wanted to give you that update so that you wouldn't feel disheartened and say he didn't win. But listen, he actually did win. Because we did it very efficiently. We feel like it was very effective, and we're still in. All right? So be sure you know that. And again, thank you for your support. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your encouragement. And we'll study running, and we expect to win very shortly. Thank you a lot.
All right, thank you, Mr. Floyd. So yes, this basically, it's something that we all need to keep tabs on, because if there's a special election called, if any of you know anything about special elections, they're extremely low turnout usually, and so it will be an election that each one of us can take part in terms of, of course, not voting unless we're in precinct 4, but helping Mr. Floyd out from a campaign perspective, where truly every vote will matter, because a special election may literally come down to 5 or 6 votes. I mean, that's not an unreasonable thing, I think. And so every dollar will matter, and every door knock will matter as well. And so we look forward to standing up. And I'm just want to say publicly, I'm impressed with Mr. Floyd's attitude, his encouraging nature. I mean, I've yet to see him one time kind of going, oh well, he's always got a smile on his face, always something good to say. So I appreciate Mr. Floyd. All right, our next speaker, we have Pastor Mark Lee Dickson come up and give us an update on his activities with the Holcomb Medical Center, the misnamed Holcomb Medical Center. But anyway, Mark has some encouraging things to say, and so I'm going to have him come up and say a few words about his activities lately. Mark?
So my name is Mark Lee Dickson, pastor with Sovereign Love Church, and also a director with Right to Life of East Texas. And as I've mentioned here before, that over in Shreveport, Louisiana, there is a place called Hope Medical Group for Women, and it's a horrible name for an abortion clinic. And at Hope Medical Group for Women, they have every Tuesday about 20 abortions, every Thursday about 30 abortions, and every Saturday about 50 abortions. I call this the Hope Massacres, because that's what it is. It's a massacre over there. About 100 lives every week, and a number of those lives are coming from right here in East Texas. There's a number of doctors over there. Dr. Morris is the name of one of them. Dr. Satho is one of them. Dr. Ballman is the one who's kind of the main head honcho over there. And then also Dr. DeGursay. And one of those doctors, Dr. DeGursay, he's actually, we found online a while back that there was some kind of connection to some hospitals here in Longview. Now, we don't understand what that means exactly. Just kind of some questions out there. But we ended up sharing that information with the Texas Medical Board, and that Texas Medical Board is investigating that doctor because he doesn't have a license to operate here in Texas. And And so if we're just going to see where that goes. So, but we're being very vigilant on keeping track of things over there and trying to save as many lives as possible. Now, right now, what we're seeing, brought a few things here. So we have seen a number of, what I do over there is I have a megaphone like this, and I will stand at the side of the building and preach into a door. And I do say preach because I believe the gospel is the best weapon that we have. And so I'll preach through the door into the waiting room, and I will share just the reality of the gospel, that this is not God's plan for their life, that God's plan is never an abortion, that God has a plan for that child. And at Hope Medical, they do perform abortions from 4 weeks, LMP, to 16.5 weeks. And so it's a lot of lives lost over there. The majority of abortions that happen, period, about 94% of abortions happen before 13 weeks. And so all these bans that we hear about, 15-week ban, 20-week ban, they don't do much. They do a little, but the majority of abortions happen 13 weeks or less. And so what I'll do is I'll use this megaphone and I'll share that God has a purpose and plan for them and their child, and I will use verses like Proverbs 3, calling them to trust in the Lord with all their heart, to lean not on their own understanding. And I will just plead with them that while their situation may seem impossible, with man it is impossible, but with God all things are possible. And I will encourage them to trust in Jesus Christ in their unexpected moment right here. And I will offer them a number of different resources if they need a place to live, if they need food, clothing, if they need whatever it is, if they want to give their child up for adoption, we've got people ready and willing to adopt that child. And so when we go over there, we plead, and when we get to talk to the women, and there's escorts that will take these women to the inside and everything of the abortion clinic, and they will discourage them from talking to us. But I will constantly, just plead with them, hey, I'll offer them water, I'll do whatever, I can to talk with them. And we have people, come and talk to us, and sometimes they change their mind. And here recently, we had 2 women there's close to 10 women who have changed their mind here in the last several months. And so praise God for that. We call that a save. And 2 of those women we've taken to early view ultrasound here in Longview. And so this one is a girl that I met on the sidewalk at 9 weeks, and we were able to get her, take her to early view and she was 16 weeks and 2 days right here. And I don't know if it's that's the heartbeat of her baby right there. And so what we do is we pay for the sonogram at the 2D, 3D, 4D live ultrasound there at early view, and we also buy them a teddy bear like this, and then we buy a teddy bear for ourselves because these work really well on the sidewalk, and start a little bear collection. So, and then this child, his name is Legend. Now a little bit about the mom from here. She's actually, she went to Spring Hill High School. And so right here, East Texas, and she's going through a difficult time right now. She's got a number of struggles, but we're doing everything we can to help her out. And sometimes it gets rough, but to be really, truly pro-life, we gotta help the mother. We gotta help, care about the mother and the child. And this is Baby Legend, is his name. And then this right here chose life. She's from Shreveport, and of course, whoever we can convince, it doesn't matter if they're from East Texas, Shreveport, wherever. And this girl, this is 20 weeks right here, and this is her heartbeat. This baby, I took the mother to early view, and she was hoping for a boy, and she got a girl. She already has 3 girls, and this is the 4th girl on the way. And when I met her on the sidewalk in Shreveport, she just was very overwhelmed. And I asked her, she was talking about her 3 girls, and I said, your car's too small, isn't it? And she just was in tears, and she was like, yeah. I was like, don't worry about it. I was like, I know some people, we're gonna try to solve this. And so what we're working on now is we've got someone who's gonna be looking for a car at an auction, and we're gonna trade in her car, put some money with it to get her a bigger vehicle for that 4th child. Because what do we do when our car's too small? We don't get an abortion, but we get a bigger car, right? And so that's what we're going to try to help her do. And so that's our goal. And so, but this baby, we went and ate at Papacita's. Always get a cheeseburger at Papacita's, by the way. It's just what I do. And she got a cheeseburger too. So good taste. But when we were talking about names, well, her 3 girls' names start with a K. And so she was like, well, what's a good name? And I said, well, how about Karis with a K? And so that's the name she ended up picking out. So I had a chance to help her name the child. And so Karis Grace. And so praise God for that. And we've got more girls that have chosen life. There's a picture out there on a table of a sonogram. It's a very large picture. That's a baby. The sonogram is 26 weeks, and she has actually got a message from her, and in 4 weeks she's going to be due. And so I'll be going to the hospital and seeing that baby and celebrating that life. And so there are babies being saved over in Shreveport, so praise God for that. The sidewalk is bare a lot of times. I try to go 3 days a week, but it's just really bare. And of course, the amount of saves is really small to the number of abortions. And just to give you a little bit of an idea here, Hope Medical is 76 miles, so it's about an hour and 13 minutes. This is from Moe's Pizza in White Oak. It's about 76 miles or so. The next closest one to us is actually Southwestern Women's Surgery Center in Dallas, and that's 122 miles. And they do 5 weeks to 21 weeks, so they do a little bit later. Planned Parenthood, Dallas is about the same distance. Aaron's Women's Center in Dallas is a little bit further, and then Planned Parenthood Fort Worth and Whole Women's Health is a little bit further as well. But so there's 6 abortion clinics from the Dallas-Fort Worth area through Shreveport that people from this area are likely to go to, Hope Medical being the closest. But on that front, we right now, as we're helping these women, we're finding that there's a lot of expenses. When you start saving babies, there's a lot of expenses. And we have a flyer out in the foyer that says, help save the babies. Has a little baby shark there. And this is a Venmo thing for those who are familiar with that. And then my name's here and contact information. If you're interested in helping support $5, $10, $20, anything to just help go towards ministering to these women in these salvation efforts, it would be greatly appreciated. Anyone who contributes, we're going to be recognizing that in the Right to Life newsletter. And so the other thing, so Right to Life is about from conception till natural death. And so we fight life with all fronts. And a while back, the last time I was here, I shared a little bit about the Jonathan Michael case in Tyler at East Texas Medical Center. 39 years old, his wife tried to pull the plug, and his parents stood up, and it ended up becoming worldwide news. We got involved in that situation. Jonathan's life was saved, praise God, and he got to spend Thanksgiving with his mom and dad. And so they are taking care of him. They have guardianship, praise God. We won the case. There was another case made worldwide news, CNN, BBC, everything, and that was the case of Peyton Summons, a 9-year-old girl at Cook Children's in Fort Worth, and she was on life support. You may have heard about it, and the hospital was saying she's brain dead. We do not want to spend any more money on her. We're going to take her off ventilator. Texas Right to Life got involved. Myself with Right to Life East Texas eventually got involved as well to do everything we could to help out that mom. And we ended up just loving her in a difficult time. And her daughter did pass away naturally, thankfully. They didn't pull the plug. They were planning on it. It was a messy court battle, very messy. And there's something called the 10-day law that Texas Right to Life is going to be fighting to get rid of. And so definitely joined them in that endeavor. And but Peyton Summons passed away October 19th, and her family got just a very rough time. So we're working on helping her with some expenses, a really big electric bill that was just really burdened because she was spending so much time in the hospital. She had to leave work, and things are piling up. And you would think in a case like this that there would be money be pouring in since this was worldwide news, but unfortunately it wasn't. A lot of money wasn't pouring in, even though it was worldwide news. And so if anyone wants to help specifically in that situation, you can still contact me through this to help her out. But that's what we do. We're working on saving lives and even suicide issues. People in the hospital who have attempted suicide and they're struggling. We try to minister to those families as well. And there was a guy, firefighter over in Tyler, who we helped out. His family, and he's doing great. He spent Thanksgiving with his family, so praise God for that. But thank you for y'all's prayers, and if you are interested in any way, if you want to join me out on the sidewalk on a Tuesday, Thursday, or Saturday, you want to try to save lives, or if you want to get plugged into the updates and just be a prayer support, feel free to take one of those flyers, send me a text, give me a call. I'd love to talk to you. Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks, Mark. Definitely, if you like more information about what Mark is doing, make sure to touch base with him. And he is truly one of the people on the front lines in the pro-life fight, both for babies, but also for end-of-life issues as well. And having followed him for a little while now, I can say with full confidence he's worth your time. And time is something that we all need to value, and Mark is definitely worth your time and your money. If you've got any ability at all to help support some of his work, it's definitely worth it. All right. Well, our next our featured speaker for this evening is going to be Mr. Terry Holcomb, and he's going to be giving us a presentation on property taxes and some issues that he's been following and some proposals that he's going to be working on for this next legislative session. I'll let him introduce himself and give a little bio and then launching his presentation. So without any further ado, Mr. Terry Holcomb.
All right, well, thank you for having me. Let me apologize ahead of time in case I'm not on my best. I got up at 5 o'clock this morning and drove an hour and a half to work. Worked till 2 o'clock, and I drove 4 hours here, and then when I leave here, I'll be driving 3 hours home. And I was feeling it about 2.5 hours into the drive. So forgive me if I'm not on my best tonight. Like you said, my name is Terry Holcomb. I am State Republican Executive Committeeman for SD Senate District 3, which is 19 counties. Senator Nichols is my state senator. I'm also the pastor at Crossroads Baptist Church in Oakhurst, Texas. I'm also the executive director of Texas Carry. And I'm the vice president of the San Jacinto County Republican Party. What did I just say? Did I say vice chair? So he told you I wasn't going to be at my best. On the State Republican Executive Committee, one of the committees that I'm on is the Legislative Priority Committee. Do I have any delegates that are here? So we have one. Okay, so at State Convention, you have the largest gathering of Republicans in the world in Texas at the Texas State Republican Party Convention. And at that convention, what we call legislative priorities are created, and there are 5 of them. One of the legislative priorities is revolving around property tax, and we're going to talk about that. I can safely tell you without beyond any shadow of a doubt that there are going to be 2 issues this legislative session that are going to take center stage in both chambers and in the governor's office. One of those is going to be school funding, and the other one is going to be property taxes. Okay? I like this quote from Chairman James Dickey. It says, "The greatest ideas come from honest discussion and open dialogue." One of the things that I've learned in the years that I've been in politics is if you ever get to a place to where you are no longer able to have a conversation, you will no longer get progress. And I think that is something we need to remind ourselves, especially in the Republican Party. One of the interesting differences between Republicans and Democrats is Democrats don't care if they disagree, they just all agree on getting us out of office. They're very, very narrowly focused. They don't seem to care about the different ideas that they have. You have a really progressive wing right now. I mean, they've got a fight going on in the Democrat Party. And then you've got the more moderate Reagan Democrats and things of that nature, and they're fighting for power within their own party, just like we do in ours. But they seem to be okay with getting along after the primaries and coming together and come after us. We seem to have a problem with that. And we kind of saw the impact of that this time. We lost 12 state house seats and 2 Senate seats. That's not good. That's not good at all. So we need to be one voice. Let's have our primaries. Let's hash it out, and then after the general, we got to come together and we got work to do. Okay. I've definitely learned that that is very, very important, and we've got to be able to have dialogue. Okay? Okay. We all agree on this. We have a huge problem.